Happy 3rd birthday, Nintendo Switch. Oh my, how you have grown. You now can play thousands of games. You've even changed colors more than a couple of times. I think at one point, you lost a lot of weight because you got a whole lot lighter. But you know so many tricks. It has been such a wonderful ride for the past 3 years. And that's why today we're talking the top 50 Nintendo Switch games of all time. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Smash that like button if you are ready to celebrate 3 years of Nintendo Switch and love all the games we've gotten and all the games we're bound to get going forward. This is an incredible anniversary. The Switch is thriving right now, and I've loved every second of it. We have 50 titles here, and they're all so recommendable. They're not in any specific order because they all have something wonderful to give a new Switch owner or a current Switch owner. So let me know in the comments down below what some of your top Switch games are of the last 3 years. I'd love to hear from you. But let's get right into this list because we've got a lot of games to go through. Maybe your favorite will be on here. Maybe it won't, but let's find out. Starting things off, it's Splatoon 2. What a fantastic evolution of the franchise. Now, we don't have a ton of time for each game, but I love how Splatoon 2 fuses single player and multiplayer into one beautiful package. Plus, this is an underdog story if I've ever heard one. Who knew that gyro-based spreading ink with Squid Kids would become a fan favorite and ultra successful franchise for Nintendo? I sure didn't when I first saw it, but I love the world they've built. That Octo expansion is fantastic, and even if I wish we could cloud save our way towards carryover progress, I'm so proud that Nintendo has added so much customization and content with zero microtransaction. That is something to write home about. Super Mario Odyssey, what a game. So many different worlds, an interstellar adventure. Cappy is a mechanic revolution and brings so much flexibility and fun to that world. At times I miss the more linear star-based gameplay of older 3D Mario titles, but this one really oozes that flash, that charm, and that openness that the Switch represented for franchises being brought to the platform for the first time. From New Donk City to the wonderful lunchy worlds, this game is remarkable. Katana Zero is one of the best indies on the platform. One dude made this game. He made a fantastic mechanics, gameplay-driven title with incredible neon art and a really weird, mysterious storyline. It is a difficult game, but ultra rewarding when you perfect a room. One hit, you're done gameplay, but they add flourishes to keep it fun and fresh. And there's DLC coming, so this one will keep on giving. Celeste, it's on the list. It's Celeste. Come on. Madeline has become an iconic character, even though she's just a sprite. The heartwarming story, the incredibly crisp and fine-tuned gameplay. Can't wait to see what Matt Makes Games makes next. The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening is a triumphant return for old school Zelda. After one of the most open-ended 3D Zeldas of all time, we go back to the basics, but with a brand new visual style. And it's that charm that elevated this game to the top of the Switch universe. And it also released alongside the Switch Lite, a perfect place to play. It's a great Zelda to take on the go, and one that, from decades ago, still warmed my heart and brought me joy many years later. Luigi's Mansion 3. From the mansion of Luigi's Mansion 1, to the multiple mansions of Luigi's Mansion 2, to a hotel in LM3, this one does for Luigi what Odyssey did for Mario, because every time you step out of that elevator, it's a whole new world, baby. The bosses are monstrous, and even though you occasionally fight against the controls, I think that's part of the charm, because Luigi is fighting to wrangle these ghosts, and you're right there with him. The multiplayer, it's okay. They are bringing more content, but I love my journey with Luigi through that wonderful hotel of horrors. Cuphead is a gift from Microsoft. I'm so glad that they wrapped up their best indie hits and sent them to Switch. This game is challenging. This game is challenging, but it has ridiculous art and, again, a lot of value and reward upon completion. A lot of people will struggle to get there, but some of those later bosses, they're so crazy. And for the art alone, this game was a remarkable achievement when it released. It looks fantastic on Switch. It is so fun to play portably, and I'm so glad that we did receive this from Microsoft and Xbox. Slay the Spire, card game chaos in a roguelite fashion. I love finessing my deck through the many floors of this game. It's just very, very pure. It might not have the best graphics, it might not have tons of modes, but those characters are so wonderfully executed, and it's so addictive to play. One more run, get a little bit farther, make those tough choices, whittle your deck down to its most efficient state. I love this game, and it's remarkable to have so many different types of indies, so many different types of genres on Switch. I'm so glad we continue to get them. ARMS. Who forgot about ARMS? If you forgot about ARMS, I'll forgive you. I know the game didn't have the longevity or the life cycle that maybe Nintendo or we had hoped for, but they did support the heck out of this game, and it brought a lot of fun and very competitive battles at the beginning. Whether you played with the button controls or went all out with the motion controls, ARMS was the arrival of Twintel, and ARMS was the arrival of really interesting competitive multiplayer gameplay. It may not achieve what Splatoon has been able to achieve, but I sure hope they give ARMS another look, or at least something similar, because I love when Nintendo does new IP, and I love that they brought ARMS to Switch. Enter the Gungeon, one of the best roguelites available from the last however many years, and it remains that on Switch. It is difficult, but it's also charming. Two things that stand out about so many wonderful eShop titles. The bullets are alive, and this game has kept my heart pumping for years now. SteamWorld Quest, one of Image Inform's best, and also one of their boldest, because they branched out from the platforming genres and tried something completely different. Card battling RPG gameplay. Wonderful story. The best SteamWorld art we've seen. I cannot wait to see where Image Inform goes next. I will follow them anywhere. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. You knew it was going to be on the list. When was it going to be called? Well, now is the time. The biggest roster ever. Sakurai is a god, and we still are getting more characters. No word on when Fighters Pass Volume 2 will begin to be revealed, but the game that's already there is near perfect. That wonderful World of Light mode, the amazing anticipation of the reveals, the online play. It's one of the top Switch games, and it will always be an evergreen title that your friends have to get when they get a Switch, because there's so much game there, and there's so much of gaming in there, with all the characters, all the crossovers, all the antics, all the fun. Hollow Knight, a buggy world. If Bugs Life didn't get enough love from Pixar, well, thank goodness Hollow Knight and Team Cherry are getting a lot of love on Switch. They're bringing Silksong later this year. I cannot wait for it. This is a moody, evocative, but also very polished and well-made side-scrolling Metroidvania. Love the heck out of it. Really, really enjoy fighting some very subtly creepy creatures and traversing a dark world that brings a lot of light to my system. Astro Bears Party, one of my personal favorites. It is a low budget game, but it has a big time fun factor. You're gonna get a lot of laughs and a lot of one more round with your friends and family. You're just spewing spaghetti around these planets, trying to cover as much territory as you can. It's quick, it's silly, and it's fun. They've updated the game to add new bears and new modes. I really like what they've done with it. It's always cheap, and this is an easy one to recommend for gamers and non-gamers alike. Super Mario Maker 2. Creating stages has never been cooler, especially with the addition of Link and his sword, but the original antics of Mario Maker are back but better. Now there's slopes, now there's a lot of new features. Still waiting to see if they bring one more game style. I sure thought they would by now. And even though I don't feel like this one receives as much love and praise as the first entry back on Wii U, it's still a wonderful game. It's still a marvelous creation, and it's still an excellent example of the Nintendo community working their butts off to make the Switch a better place. Overcooked 2, amazing. It is competitive co-op, not because you're working against each other, but because you're pushing each other to do better. You gotta whip out these recipes as fast as you can. I think this is one of the best cooperative indie titles of the last 10 years, and it will forever be an instant recommendation for a new Switch owner. It's just remarkable. So much content has been added, so much charm. Love the little chefs running around, and you can get just about anybody into this game as long as you're not too bossy. Super Crush KO from Vertex Pop. It is combo-tastic gameplay with clever art and a kitty. What more can you ask for? Kunai is a wonderful Metroidvania, and it has a unique aesthetic by delivering a Game Boy style color palette. Plus, I love the kunai. The verticality and the traversal in this game are so fluid and fun. The smart decision to have combat refill your health and also build currency for upgrades, it's a wonderful loop that is always giving back to you. So no matter what you do, even if you have to repeat a section, you're gaining, you're growing, you're building, you're learning, and you need it for those boss battles, especially the final fight, which is one to remember. Heave ho, grab a hold, throw them. Maybe you'll throw them to safety, maybe you'll throw them off the screen. Either way, it is a absolute hoot. I love this game. Simple idea, executed so well. It borrows from another Switch title, SNIPPERCLIPS, and takes very charming little characters, simplistic gameplay, and this one's more platformy than puzzle, but it had me having the same laughs with my friends and family, and I appreciate that so much. Let's roll right into SNIPPERCLIPS, Cut It Out Together, a fantastic original Switch game. Nintendo had so much faith in a small team and helped them deliver one of the best co-op games on the console. It is so much fun to snip and clip together. They added new content, the levels are rewarding, and they're tougher than they look. There's a few quirky multiplayer modes if you want to get in for some quick fun, but you can puzzle this one out with your significant other, with a parent, with a child, and it's a really good time. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Who would have thunk that Nintendo and Miyamoto would hand over the Mushroom Kingdom keys? Well, they did, and we got a wonderful result from Davide and his team at Ubisoft. It wasn't perfect, but it delivered an XCOM-style Mario game while merging the Mushroom Kingdom with the Rabbids universe. On paper, that sounds like a disaster, but in actuality, the game is a ton of fun. The Donkey Kong expansion is awesome, and I can't wait to see what that squad does next. Ape Out, made by a Gabe. A guy named Gabe created this game. It's like Hotline Miami if Donkey Kong took over, and it has incredible art and an incredible rhythm and momentum to the music and the gameplay. Everything you do is absolutely pointed by musical flourishes, and eventually, well, I don't want to spoil it, but eventually the storyline of the game really grabs a hold of you. It might be subtle, there might not be any words, but you want to help this ape out, and you're gonna get the ape out in Ape Out because that's the name of the game. Flint Hook is another fantastic roguelite. Maybe doesn't have the popularity of something like Enter the Gungeon or Binding of Isaac, but it does have the excellent gameplay, and I love the meta here. I think there's fantastic meta as you look to improve your character and build upon your runs, having to beat a bunch of bosses along the way to make big strides across this sky pirate, space pirate type system. It has a nice hook, which allows for great traversal, really crispy controls, fluid movement, and that upgrade system is really, really strong. Mega Man 11 brings tried and true Blue Bomber gameplay back to a Nintendo platform. This one evokes all the good from Mega Man before, but brings in some new techniques without ruining the formula. Other titles tried to evolve the Mega Man formula with far less success, but 11 is strong. It is a difficult game, but again, it is rewarding, and I love that Switch is now the ultimate home, and I love that Nintendo Switch is now the ultimate home for one of gaming's ultimate franchises. Fire Emblem Three Houses delivers an epic. It's like Game of Thrones gone Switch style. So much good gameplay here. Picking your house is a moment that any purchaser of this game will remember. We even get Fire Emblem Three Houses in Smash Bros. Whether it was the best decision or not, it shows how important and powerful this title is, and it brings Fire Emblem into the spotlight more than ever before. Part of the year where Nintendo took 3DS handheld franchises and brought them to Switch, fleshed them out, and gave us big, bold entries. It may not be my personal favorite, but I recognize the power and importance of this incredible RPG. Super Mario Party. It may not be incredible, but it's still a ton of fun, and I think the minigames are very strong, even if the boards are not. They botched the online, but I like the idea of different characters with unique dice blocks. I think it adds some fun to the gameplay. The assist phone might be something I want to shut off service for, and I hope that they can truly evolve this in the next entry to be a much more perfect Mario Party experience, but it's still a ton of fun on Switch, and it's a great game that crosses over for non-gamers and gamers alike. The mini games are there, and I do really like those, even if the structure of it all may need some work. Still, I love me some Mario Party. Mario Tennis Aces takes tennis to a whole new level and brings ultra-competitive online to a sport that maybe some aren't even super familiar with. But thanks to the Mario characters, thanks to their power-ups, pretty much anyone can play, and then few will become masters. They supported the heck out of this game similarly to ARMS with lots of new characters, lots of new content, and I like that they brought a single player along for the ride as well. It may not have taken too long, but it still was fun, and it helped you improve your tennis skills. I had some wonderful battles with this game, raging back and forth, casting super after super, ultimate after ultimate, and working to control those courts. I cannot wait to see what Mario Sports Style hits Switch next. If Mario Tennis Aces is a sign of what's to come, we're in for a very good generation for the ball-type games. Crash Team Racing is hyper underrated. Yes, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe reigns supreme, no doubt, but Crash Team Racing is absolutely fantastic as well. It is tougher than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it's harder to master, and the single-player side of it can be incredibly frustrating. You need near-perfect runs the whole way through, but it is rewarding, and I love that they have taken the simplistic 2-pack DLC format from Mario Kart, thrown it out the window and said, we're giving you Grand Prix all the time. Now the content is complete, but they added so many characters and costumes and tracks, and I hope that Mario Kart borrows a little from CTR in their next outing, which I really think we may get sooner rather than later. But let's talk more Crash Bandicoot, because the N-SANE trilogy is another awesome remake. This game still holds up in this era because it's such really fine-tuned, boiled-down gameplay that is precise platforming action in a much more crazy space than we're used to with Mario's side-scrolling adventures. I think this one is incredibly challenging, and 3 games for the price of 1. This thing is always like $20. It's an insane value on Switch. That's why Insane is in the title, and I love it to death. Cadence of Hyrule takes Crypt of the Necrodancer and fuses it with Link and Zelda. Who would have thunk that again Nintendo would give the keys to another one of their tentpole franchises to a different developer and say, go make your own genre? Well, they did it with just as much or more success than Mario plus Rabbids, and it is an interesting art style, bringing along the epic music and combining 2 genres with crazy success. Ori and the Blind Forest is another glorious gift from Microsoft. The sequel is out soon. Hopefully one day that will hit Switch, but the original game is impressive. It's an emotional, side-scrolling platformer with upgrades and insane escape sequences that are ferociously fast and fun. It's totally different than something like Celeste, so even if you've mastered a lot of platformers on Switch, Ori and the Blind Forest still absolutely earns a spot in your collection. SteamWorld Dig 2, another SteamWorld franchise title on this list. This one, the Metroidvania flavor. I love digging down, coming back up with gems and rock, converting them to currency, and eventually upgrades. It's got charming characters, wonderful art, really nice challenges and difficult sections to mix in with more basic platforming gameplay, and then awesome boss battles, and it just, I don't know. Image and Form are one of my absolute favorites, so I'm so proud that 2 of their games have made this list. Pokemon Sword and Shield revolutionized the Pokemon franchise. Maybe not as much as we'd like, but do remember that it gave us freeform camera control and giant open spaces. It brought Gen 8 to Switch and took Pokemon to the console space for the first time. Now I know, Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee did it first, but those are retreads of old games, and this one, I think, much more earns a spot on this list. It's not perfect. Unfortunately, it was surrounded with a lot of controversy, but I think those expansions look neat. The new Pokemon were pretty darn good. There was a lot of excellent, epic gym battles in the stadiums, and I still think Sword and Shield is a very strong entry in the Pokemon franchise. Into the Breach is a wonderful game from the creators of FTL, this time saving cities from kaiju, spiders, and scum. You know what they're gonna do, but just because you can predict it doesn't mean you can stop it. This one is a thinky puzzler that requires a lot of brain power. You're gonna make mistakes, but luckily it allows for it. It's one of those games where you're carefully tipping on the edge of, oh god, it's looking so dire, And no, I'm going to save the day and acquire an epic new upgrade. There's lots of side challenges that make these missions even more tough. And I love that they telegraph the moves, which sounds like it'd be so boring, but that specifically in this game is why it's so fun. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Yes, it's more expensive than the Wii U version. Yes, it's the same game, but with Funky Kong. Also, yes, one of the best 2D platformers of all time. That art, though, those silhouette stages, end of story, mic drop, we're out. Bayonetta 1+2 brings Witch Time to the Switch. We're getting 3 eventually, and that would probably kick this off the list if it had come out, but we're still waiting. In the meantime, you can play the first and second game on the Switch, and they are wonderful. They sometimes get a little crampy if you're playing in handheld, but with the controller, it's totally fine, and these are really good action games. I still think Witch Time is one of the best mechanics we have seen in this genre. Bayonetta is a classy and also crazy character, and there are some very intense battles that will definitely leave your hands tired, but your heart's happy. Rocket League brings cars and soccer to the Switch. This is a game imported from other platformers, but that's okay. It still is so much freaking fun. And while I feel like it's starting to run out of steam in popularity, other games are capturing the space, it's awesome and it's great. And in the same way that Mario Tennis Aces takes a sport and makes it appealing almost universally, Rocket League has done the same by fusing 2 distinct genres into one beautiful package. LA Noire, getting some Rockstar action up on the Switch. It's not GTA, it's not RDR, but it is LA Noire, and that face capture technology, still impressive to this day. Sussing out what went wrong in these cases, having to interrogate and investigate is a ton of fun. Driving around LA, it is a wonderful, long adventure for Switch. I'm so glad they brought it to the console, and I think it's secretly one of Rockstar's hidden gems. Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. Shovel Knight, man, this guy is making moves, whether it's Dig or Pocket Dungeon. He's become a mascot, an icon of his very own. And the Treasure Trove is an excellent package that has kept on giving gifts. Now it's complete, and you've got so much good old school platforming action, an alternative to Mega Man, but I think almost just as good in different ways, of course, with a different idea and a different concept, but it's the same mentality that made Mega Man so memorable for so many years. I think Shovel Knight, look, he's getting so many games. He's a freaking amiibo. He's going to go down as one of the best characters of this era. And who would have thunk that Yacht Club Games could take their little knight with a shovel and turn him into an industry icon? It's a remarkable story. This is a remarkable package, and it's tight, crisp gameplay, rewarding, fantastic, and I love the litany of knights that they have brought to the table. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, bringing that JRPG action, good golly style, to the Switch. We're getting a lot of Xenoblade thanks to the definitive edition of the first game, but Chronicles 2 came first and delivered a bold, brand new, big adventure. It may take a while to get into, but it is still a really impressive game and a really fun time on Nintendo Switch. Axiom Verge, some may say the best Metroidvania, better than Metroid and Vania. Axiom Verge is getting a sequel later this year, and it's coming to Switch first, which is glorious. This is a fantastic game. Very well made, difficult, but not too tough. And it's one that, while not having the art style charm of something like SteamWorld Dig 2 or Kunai, still such a good Metroidvania side-scroller. The Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt. How did they make this happen? How did they get it on Switch? And it works so darn well. Those wizards over there at CD Projekt Red and their porting studios, they did wonderful work. They brought one of the biggest open world epics to Switch, and it runs good. It now has cross-platform saves, which is insane, and it gives me hope that so many more games of this ilk can come to Switch. It's possible. You devs can do it. Look what they did. I hope we get more of this. I'm hungry for games of this caliber and this scope on the system. Lego Marvel Super Heroes 2. There's a lot of Lego games. They're all on Switch, but they're still good. Great co-op action, tons of characters. I'm so excited for the Skywalker saga, but right now, Lego Marvel Super Heroes 2 will hold that spot because it chronicles all that Marvel has brought to the table over the last 10 years or so. I think the Lego games are under the radar still. I know that people know a lot about them, but they are better than they still get credit for. don't sleep on these titles. They're available for cheap, they're great for friends and family, and they are awesome to play on Nintendo Switch. Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus Bethesda, doing big things for the platform. They have since the start, bringing Doom and the Wolfies to the system. Maybe they don't look as good as their console counterparts, they definitely don't, but they managed to make it look good enough and run well enough to still be a really fun time. And it's pretty crazy to take a game this intense and this crazy on the go. Playing this thing on a handheld with Neon Joy-Con, that doesn't always add up, but it's real and it's happening. And I'm so pumped that we're getting Doom Eternal, even if it's not day and date. Thank you, Bethesda, for supporting our 3-year-old little baby platform. Speedrunners, it's one of my favorite indies of recent memory. It's such a good competitive game. You can get quick rounds in so fast, so repeated, but it never feels repetitive because every time your intention and your focus is laser beam straight on that screen to beat your opponents. I love the characters, I love the charm, I love the levels. This is one that you can just do the same thing over and over again, but somehow it's fun because you swap out the techniques, the tactics, the people you play. Every round is a little bit different, and it is infinitely awesome on Switch. Dark Souls 1, it took a while, but Bandai Namco brought it to our system, and I love that we get some Soulsborne action here on the console. A lot of games have tried to do what Dark Souls does on Switch, but none do it as well as Dark Souls, even though it's the original game. And, you know, there are some drawbacks to this port. I love Dark Souls. It's not the true original in Demon Souls, but this is the game that started making this genre oh so popular, and I'm oh so glad we have it on Switch. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Goodness gracious, I wanted to talk about this one at the top, but I saved it for towards the end. It's so good. It is kart racing perfection. It is the biggest bestseller on Switch. I don't see that changing. This game is just the ultimate package. How will they one-up Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with Mario Kart 9? I got no idea. But I do know they should talk to Sakurai, because if anyone can give them the idea, it's definitely that man. Diablo 3 Eternal Collection, bringing some Blizzard chills to the Switch. Got that action, RPG, loot-based gameplay, and it runs so well. I think this one, it seems just like a given port, but it's really good. I had so much fun playing it, and I really appreciate that Blizzard is continuing to bring their games with Overwatch and Overwatch 2 to the console. Don't know if they'll do that with Diablo 4 because it looks pretty intense, but I love that we have the option to play Diablo 3 here on the go. Crawl flips the dungeon crawler formula on its head by allowing you to control the villainous scourge within said dungeon. It's a wonderful idea where you all start as the heroic units, but along the way, somebody turns bad, and they're controlling the monsters, the traps, the mayhem within the dungeon, upgrading and evolving their units until eventually they control the boss. It is a raucous good time, one with unexpected twists and turns, and you never quite know who is going to come out on top until the very end. Well, my friends, we've now reached the very end of our list, and what game have I saved for last? I've saved the launch title that set this whole thing off with fireworks and flair and fun. It is the game that I got with my Switch. It's the game you probably got with your Switch. It's the game we got on its inauguration birthday back in 2017, March the 3rd, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And there is my list, 50 top Switch games of all time. Which are your favorite Switch games of the last 3 years? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for being a part of this channel. We've been here since the beginning, and we're going to be here till the end. So thanks so much for all your support. I appreciate you all so much. Love that we are celebrating the Switch's 3rd birthday together. Until next time, everybody, have a fantastic day. Be good to yourself and others out there. Blow out a candle for the Switch. Eat a piece of cake. SwitchForce out.